Good morning and welcome to Monday morning. It is the 15th of November today. And if you'll remember, we started with a section on prayer out of Jesus' words in Matthew chapter 6, verses 5 through 7. We read those together on Saturday, and then we heard from Karl Barth on that day. And we're going to stay with prayer because it's so important to the health of our individual spiritual lives as well as to the health of the church. Prayer is known and has been often cited as the power generator of a church. So let's continue to focus on prayer today. Today's author is Daniel Doriani. Not familiar with him at all, but what he has to share, I think, is interesting. Some people think that God is too busy or indifferent to hear every prayer. They hope to shake him from his lethargy, to shout above his deafness, or to locate the formula that captures his attention. That sounds like the prophets of Baal in the contest with Elijah. The problem in prayer is not that God is too busy for us, but that we feel too busy for him. God does not remove himself from us. We remove ourselves from him. We do not need to master techniques that guarantee effective prayer. We should reject the idea that our prayers must be good enough to meet God's attention, to merit God's attention. Our words will never be good enough to merit God's attention, but God is kind and compassionate enough to listen. The pagans had their ideas about how to garner God's attention, and we have ours. Some Christians think that their fervor, their sincerity, or their technique may gain them God's ear. Some think, if I rise early in the morning and pray on my knees in the cold without coffee, then God will hear me. But such prayer performances may not be seeking God at all. They may be seeking God's benefits, or may even be trying to manipulate him. Instead of pleading for mercy, they attempt to force God to be merciful. Persistent prayer is certainly good, but God does not answer prayer because our persistence impresses him. He answers prayer because he loves us. True prayer seeks to commune with God, not to extract benefits from him. True prayer rests in God's generosity, not in our efforts to earn rewards. True prayer waits on God's wisdom, rather than assuming that we can accurately assess our needs. And boy, we think we're good at that, don't we? True prayer trusts God and finds its confidence in him. I don't know if you've noticed, I've mentioned it a few times, I've probably not mentioned it every time it really is highlighted, these devotions going through the Sermon on the Mount. So much of it is based on our attitude. No matter what it may be, we're in prayer here, we've talked about giving, doing of good works, things of that nature. Why? Why do I pray? It's because I want to be in a relationship with God the Father and come to an understanding of things as he sees them and pray in that way? Or do I come to God in prayer because I want something? And so if I just, put myself out in the praying, then he'll give me what I want. That's buying God off. We can't do that. Prayer is simply making our hearts known before God and trusting him for the answer. You can't manipulate God. It's impossible. But God, true prayer trusts God and finds its confidence in him. Oh, there's a lot to learn about prayer. A lot to learn about prayer. It's deep conversation deep interaction with God. Just as with other humans, shallow conversation, it comes and it goes. But with those whom we can have deep conversations, not because we want something from them, but just because we enjoy it. That's what prayer needs to be with God. Blessings to you today. And make real prayer part of your life every day throughout the day. Blessings.